It's Monday.
Yes. It's a quiet Monday in my house. I told Jen, Reagan, I don't think you heard this, but I told Jen that Eric took the two littlest boys. So Liam, we call Tiny Destroyer because he walks from room to room and destroys the entire household in like 2 seconds flat, but they're gone. So it's like me and the big boys are at school. So Drew was like worried about me. He's like, "You're gonna be all alone, Mom." I'm like, I know.
And that is a beautiful thing.
I'm gonna be okay.
So what you're saying is after coffee talk, you're going to sit down in your clean, quiet house and watch a show all by yourself or something.
Right. Yeah. It's like a good Monday today. I mean, don't get me wrong, love my children, but when you do chores and like 6 hours later it's still clean, that's special.
Yeah.
The holiday.
Before where we've cleaned the house and I'm like, okay, don't touch anything. Let me just sit here. I just want it clean for like 5 minutes. Like
Yeah.
everybody just sit here.
Just memorize this.
Just soak it in. Listen, you can't hear anything. Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Starting out to be a great week,
Well, my house is a mess, but my clean, hack that I'll give all the ladies today is I'm actually, as soon as I finish this, I'm going to go pour some pine salt in all my toilets and in all my little sinks. And even though it's messy, it still smells. It's not like fuming. I know we're all into like natural stuff. I can't even tell you how like cathartic that will be to me. Yeah, I'll start, and I'll also have my essential oil thing going too.
That's awesome.
But it's just like, I feel better. I don't know if it's just like with all women, we just immediately feel better once stuff is clean, Like
Yeah.
we've done one thing on our constant, never ever revolving list of things to do.
Yeah.
Who else does not enjoy cleaning their house? Put a 1 in the comments. If you do not enjoy cleaning your house, put a 1 in the comments.
Just talked to one girl this week. I shouldn't say talked. Like we just
Monday.
Oh. We discussed on Facebook that she loves, like we were talking about hobbies, and she said she loved cleaning. I'm like, has that always been, was that just like something birthed in you? Because cooking and cleaning just didn't come into this package. I don't know what. I don't know. It's a good thing I wasn't born in the 50s or earlier. I think I would have been pushed aside. I would have had to go into the nunnery or something.
I will say it feels good though. Like when the
Start
kids
a cat
are around
shelter.
and you like allow yourself to dive into cleaning, and it is a little therapeutic, kind of like pulling weeds.
Yeah.
I don't wake up and go, oh, I want to do it. But once I get into the mode and it starts with the kitchen, it always starts with the kitchen and then kind of spider webs out. It does feel really good at the end. It happens like once every 6 months for me.
I was going to say, how often is that? Every once in a while, I get on a roll. I can't say, like, I always tell my family, I'm like, don't interrupt this roll. It's not that I'm enjoying the roll. I just am like on it,
on a roll.
I want to be interrupted, but
Totally.
I had too much, sat and thought about it. It's not that I like it. It's just like I'm moving. I got to do this.
I love it. Okay, Renee does not like cleaning. Oh, Brooke says she loves it when she has the time, which isn't often.
And she likes to clean too. You did come with that deep in you. You are the package. Yep.
That's awesome.
What Brooke feels.
I love it.
Yeah.
What about makeup-free Monday?
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't wear a lot of makeup, so I may be confused to not have makeup on.
Well, I actually just asked Ryan, I said, should I wear more makeup? Because I was gone for a week on a trip with him and my sister came to school and some people confused her for me. And then one of the little girls says, why are you wearing so much makeup? And then my girls always ask my sisters why they're wearing makeup. And they're like, they don't even wear a lot of makeup. It's like, your mom wears none. And it's so then I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I do need to wear makeup because I actually put on makeup and noticed that immediately I looked amazing. I was like, oh my God.
It's like Reagan upgraded.
It was, I can't even tell you. I was like, oh, I feel like it's a professional photo shoot right now. And I was just like foundation and my eyes and lips. So Brian's like, I've been wearing lipstick.
So let us know. Are you a makeup? Do you like to go makeup free? Sometimes there's a balance. I personally could go makeup free wherever, but I really enjoy makeup too. So it just depends on I don't really care either way, but I do know some friends that are like, I will not leave my house without makeup,
Yeah.
which I would never leave my house.
What?
Well, I would say I would, if I was like that, I'd never be able to leave my house.
Okay. Okay.
Usually I put
Yeah.
makeup on and get dressed out of workout clothes, and the kids are like, where are you going? What's going
Yeah.
on?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's confusing to my children. For years, I lived at the gym, right? And I would teach all throughout the day. So why shower 4 times a day? In fact, my doctor told me that's not good. So I'm like, all right. So I'll stay in sweaty clothes then. That's not good either,
I
actually.
was gonna say, I can't believe you weren't like a,
Apparently you can
Totally.
get rashes and things
Yeah.
from that. I mean, it never happened to me. It happened to other people. Anyway, yeah, you don't want to do that. But I would go into stores after spinning with like back sweat completely
Oh.
covered there, like dry sweat drips down the side of my face, you know,
That's
I mean, that was normal. So I consider myself upgraded that my hair is down like 3 days out of the 7, you know, like my family's like, who are you?
that's pretty funny. Well, it's fun to see the different things that I just think it's freeing to be us
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
no makeup, with dirty houses. You know, there's a balance in all of that. But free. That's what She's Velvet Steel is all about, is she's free. And that's going to look different for everyone, right?
Right. For
But I didn't always feel so free. I definitely had some prison bars around me. And I don't know, Jamie, I know you've got some stories too. I know for me, like we're kind of moving into our topic this morning, and not to like bring it down. But there's definitely some seasons in our life that we realize, you know, we are not free. And it's almost like you're living in a prison of your own head. I don't know if you guys have ever felt like that, where you're scratching out of it, you're working harder, you're doing all these things to try to get out of it, and you just can't. And some of it can be like a catapult into it. Like, I know my son's hospitalization was a huge, like 1 minute you're totally at a football game and everything's fine. And then literally within hours, you're on a life flight to Seattle. Or it can be these slow things. And I think it's the slow things that scare me probably the worst, because they're super sneaky, and they sneak up without you even realizing. One of it for me was, like Andy and I's marriage will be in June, this past June, it was 22 years we've been married. And that's a long time to be married.
Way to go. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Way to go.
22.
But it's a lot of years for a lot of opportunity to really screw up on both sides, you know? And for me, it's the center of our family life. Like, it's the center of, you know, raising kids and meals and homework. And like, if Andy and I are not in sync, it really disrupts the entire house. And I remember just laying there next to him in bed, and both of us, we got into this routine. And when we were newlyweds, it was always like, oh, I couldn't get closer to him. Like, we slept with legs wrapped around each other, and I just wanted to put my head on his heartbeat and like go to sleep to the sound of his heart beating. It kind of makes me nauseous even saying that. But that's what you do when you get married when you're 19, right? But to see like, okay, now 20 years later, we get into bed at different times. Our backs are to each other. We're doing our own thing. I mean, I hate to even admit it. There's been definitely seasons where we don't even kiss each other goodnight. Maybe don't even say goodnight. We're just there, kind of partners, roommates. And you kind of wonder, when did this happen? Like, this isn't what I envisioned, you know, as a newlywed. Not for a million years did I think, oh yeah, in 20 years, you guys will just be roommates and he'll annoy the crap out of you. And, you know, he won't be able to do anything right. And you'll be irritated all the time. And, you know, I'm painting a really ugly picture of my marriage, but there's definitely been seasons like that where you go, well, what happened? You know, there has to be that moment of just like, I don't want it like that, because during the day that every interaction we have is just this, well, why did you say it like that? Well, what do you mean by that? Well, what does this mean? And are you going to answer me? Are you going to turn around? Will you look at me when I talk to you?
Right.
And it's just, it all gets bigger than it needs to be. And I know that's not what God's plan is. And so there's these little things that I have eventually learned of, like, it doesn't have to be that way. And it breaks my heart thinking about it.
Little foxes, slow fades, I think that's why we were warned multiple times, biblically speaking. I mean, God kind of knows how, I shouldn't say kind of, I should never use that qualifier when it comes to God. God knows how we work, which is why he always put periodically, remember, because we forget that these little foxes come in and make massive holes over time. Initially, they're small enough, we don't deal with them in the moment, but then it gets worse and worse. And so, those slow fades definitely can add up to becoming massive wind knock out of you situations. And you mentioned the prison that we get ourselves in the mind. Yesterday at church, so Jen and I go to the same church, different towns. And we've mentioned this before, we go to Fresh Life Church. Levi Lusko is the pastor, and had a guest speaker yesterday. And as he was speaking too, I was thinking about, he was bringing up several different points of the cross, yes, was to save us from ourselves and from the consequence of our life, but it didn't end there. And to just go, yay, whoop, I'm saved. And to call it that is, we are discrediting everything he put on the line for us. We are letting go of everything he paid and everything he desired for us, the abundant life that he came for, the freedom that he intended for us. I mean, it says the truth sets us free, but so many of us are not free. I think of the prison of the mind. My field, of work is health and fitness, and has been for years, but I can't tell you, how many women think about themselves, how they look, how they feel in their body, and what they think about themselves negatively at least 10 times a day. And that's on a good day. And it starts from the minute they get out of bed and they go look at themselves in the mirror. And then they get to, a public place and they sit down in a chair and they don't like how their legs spill over on the chair. And that's what they're thinking about. So they're repositioning themselves so that their legs don't look as fat, and then they're thinking about their muffin top over the edge of their pants, and they're uncomfortable with how their pants are fitting. And that's what they're thinking. And when we talk about prison of the mind, we're talking about these situations like in your situation, Jen, where things aren't the slow fade of your husband that eats away at you every time you catch a second glance of them, or every time you're just kind of passing along the teammate information. I did this, and this, the kids need this, see you later.
Yep.
That little awareness each time you're thinking of it, and it kind of poisons you.
Totally.
I had a season in my life, and I think we all have these little things that slow fade, but then we've got these big things that the slow fades can take us to a season where if you don't get out of the prison, if you don't receive the truth that sets you free, then it can cost you your life. And I don't say that, like you said, I don't mean to be like doomsday or to be an exaggerator, but I say this because that was me. Right. I was at a season in my life where I had tried everything to get out of it. And people that know me and know my nature, I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. I can do this. I'm going to do everything that God told me to. I'm going to do everything that everybody else tells me to. I'm going to get out of this. And I remember after a year of not being able to get out of it, my husband convinced me to go to a naturopath. And if you know me, you would say that, whoa, really? You went? Not because I don't agree with doctors or naturopaths. It's just because I don't feel like I need them most of the time, because I don't get sick very often. And I like to handle my own crap. And so, anyway, I'm like, no, I need to get out of this. And he's like, maybe just go see if they think something else is going on. So I go in and she says, well, maybe this is a hormonal thing. And so I decided I was going to track on a calendar and put it on the side of my refrigerator. And what I was tracking was my overall perception of the day. And I didn't want my kids to know what it was. because I didn't really want them to know exactly what I thought about my life. But my code was a straight line meant the day was just normal. It wasn't good or bad. An upside down face was that it was a bad day. Overall, that's how I saw it. And then the smiley face was a great day. And after tracking for a month, I remember looking at it and adding up the totals, trying to figure out patterns too. You know, hormonally, I figure that there must be a pattern. There must be like 2 weeks in there where I'm just off my rocker and she can give me something. And when I looked at it, I mean, the majority were either straight or upside down. And I thought, dang, I can't have this be my norm. I can't have one good day in 31. I'm never going to make it. So for me, the cost of that prison was going to be my life. I mean, I really felt at that point that I was like, either something changes now or my husband needs a new wife. My kids need a new mom because they should not pay a price for how I am, you know, and I could not see any pattern, and I wasn't sure the naturopath would find any kind of pattern. And so that prison to me was like a death sentence. I felt like I was on, what do they call that? The Green Mile or whatever. I felt like I was like headed toward the end for me. So my prison wasn't just the daily annoyance anymore. It became like, if something doesn't change, this is it, you know? So that kind of prison, whether it's an annoyance prison or it's a frustrating prison or it's like a desperate prison, that prison is what God came for. You know, yes, he came to save us from all of our crap and mess and mistakes and all of that, but he also came to, on a daily basis, to save us from those prisons, you know, and to set us free from those prisons. And so what happens when, as a Christian, you don't feel that freedom? You're not experiencing that freedom. You're not walking that freedom out. I don't know what your prison is. I mean, I think every girl has some kind of a prison. And
or lots of them at the same time. Or lots of them at the same time.
Yeah, right? I mean, you might be like, yeah, I feel fat and I feel sad and my marriage isn't good. Maybe you've got like, I'm in all of those prisons, you know? The reality is that there are opportunities, and it's simple. Not usually the things that we think about. It's not an equation. It isn't this how-to 5 tips to breaking free, right? Because I did all of those and I searched for those. It's more simple than what we make it out to be. But that's the She's Free program. That's what we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. It's birthed out of a place of being in prison ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm even just reminded listening to you guys of that whole idea. I mean, I totally feel myself. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. I remember like 2 years ago, I read this book called The Compound Effect, and, you know, it was about sales and stuff. But the thing that just struck at me, it took 3 friends, and it talked about these 3 friends, and one just did one small thing different, took like a step and said, you know what, I'm going to just walk an extra, you know, 2 blocks at night. I mean, it was something crazy. It was like so small. And he's like, I'm going to do this and that. And it's like, when you fast forward, and I mean, we were talking before this even got on. And I mean, just listening to your guys' stories of where you've been, and then even knowing just like where we are as women today. I mean, I'm walking into school, and one of my girlfriends and she's like, I've just got to do something. I just got to do something different. Like, I've got to do something different. We're obviously talking about our weight, because what else do women talk about all the time? Being healthy, like feeling like crap. I mean, is it normal to want to nap every hour? Probably not. I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, you know, part of that exhaustion more for me, and I'm a horrible eater. Okay. Jamie knows that. She's praying for me too. Maybe some spiritual intervention there, but it's that mental stress now, you know, like we're probably sitting there watching us. We've got young kids, we've got marriages. And you know what, to be honest, when Jen's laying in bed and feels like there's a huge distance between us, Andy's probably sleeping soundly, because their brains are not constantly thinking about this stuff. You know, they're just like enjoying it. I mean, I'm just amazed.
Mine is.
I mean, that you're charting your days. And I just feel like, you know, because I told them I was looking at the She's Free program. I mean, this is me telling both Jamie and Jen before we got live and just saying, like, I don't know if I want to pay the cost of something. Like, I can't tell you how many things, you know, how many lapsed gym memberships that I never attended, how many parenting things I bought, how many marriage deals I bought. But at the same time, it's like the difference being is that right now we have a community. And it's like a lot of that stuff, like you said, okay, I'm gonna buy that magazine. It said, what's the 10-minute butt tightening finder? You know, like done. I don't know. That just pops in my head. But just thinking like, okay, is it worth it? And my husband and I, we teach a marriage class, and we always talk about, you know, counseling is cheaper than divorce. You know, but sometimes we're like, okay, I told them, like, sometimes in my mind, I'm thinking, I just need one good date night, one night with my husband, without my kids. I'll feel like a better mom. I'll feel like a better wife. So I'm spending the money. But then even when I'm out with him, I'm thinking of all these other things that I've already failed at. I'm thinking of where I'm not meeting it. And then instead of being like an enjoying person to be out on a date with for him, I'm just trying to kind of almost like unload my crap on him to feel better. Because that's how I feel better. I just dump it on somebody else. And then once I've said it. But I just think the idea of, you know, the She's Free program, and those of us that like me, even this morning before I kind of listened to their stories, and was just like, you're right, God, what am I doing? I don't want the same results for my own life. I know most of you watching are not wanting the same results for your own life. So if we don't feel we're walking in some freedom after this, we know where Jamie and Jen are. There'll be a lot of comments in the comment box, right? On the Coffee Talk, be like, that did not work. But, you know, I'd rather have somebody walk me through it that's not like a PhD social behavioralist. I want somebody that's like me, like you said, that's walked through some hard things. It's like, I'm not saying this because I've never struggled with it. I'm saying it because I have struggled with it. And this is what actually worked. So
I think the hard part is when you feel like you know everything you're supposed to know, and you feel like you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, but there's a disconnect in that. There's a disconnect in the daily life of that. And I know for me, that chatterbox, as Stephen Furtick calls it, and just the discouragement of it's not going to change. I mean, look, this is irreparable. You can't go back. It's never going to be like that. Hopelessness, like Jamie said, it will take you out. And I watched Andy 2 years ago, and that's a story that we share for the program. So I won't get into the story too much, but you know, when you watch someone that you love, when hope does not exist, you're done. There's no reason to live when there's no hope. And hope has to be tied to some sort of thing in the future. So some sort of vision that you've got for your life. So for us laying in bed and thinking, this is not what I had envisioned when I was a newlywed. This was not. And I remember screaming to God of just like, I must have gotten the signals crossed. I swear you told me to marry this guy. But, you know, obviously it was one of those, like I got in the way of, it was supposed to be going to that girl behind me. But just really questioning everything, questioning every decision you've made, and just wondering like, this is it. Like there's no hope. But, I think when you have that day of disgust and you realize there is power in community, and there's power in the smallest little changes that you can make and implement, these daily things that you can implement. And then I know for me, I know the hopelessness that I felt. I know the frustration and the disconnect that I had with my husband. And I see and feel that desire that I have for him, and that connection, and that like, it is so powerful. Things do not have to stay the way they are right now, whether it's with your children, in your marriage, health-wise, vocationally, they do not have to stay the way they are. That this is not the end of the end. There is hope.
Yeah. I think when I looked at my calendar in that season, and I remember back to that season, I don't cry because it still hurts. I don't cry because of the pain that I felt. I cry because I remember it, and it blows my mind of how far God has brought me. Gosh, I am emotional.
We're not even at our
time, you guys.
It's having a house by yourself.
Holy cow. But the truth of the matter, that's the thing. And in that moment, in that season, I knew what God had said about me and about other people, you know, that there was this hope and this future and this plan and this purpose that he had for me, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. I thought I had heard it at one time. I had had
Right.
some stirring and some leaning into that at one time. And then all of that was lost. And I was frustrated. Like, did I hear wrong? You know, like,
Yeah.
can I really believe what you said? Maybe I'm misinterpreting the Bible, you know, maybe I'm misunderstanding what you said. So I think of that time and how not only did I lose hope, but I lost this sense of direction and lost this sense of purpose and lost the anchoring of truth for me. And I knew a lot of it, and it was swimming in my head, but it wasn't, I wasn't gripping to that. And so when I look at that now, and I look at that season as that was actually, when you think of any good story, when you think of the hero in the story, there's always the climax of the book. The turning point of the book is when the hero meets the obstacle, whether it's a villain or it's like something that they got to do that you're like, oh man, and you're on the edge of your seat. Like, what would I do? Are they going to have the courage to do it? Are they going to be able to face this thing? They have a choice to step out in courage to overcome this obstacle. And that's what makes them the hero, right? Is that there's this triumph in the story. And I think you and I, that's exactly what God has designed, is that Jesus is the ultimate hero, but he came so that there could be victory, continuous victory in our life, right? So that when we look at seasons and we remember back, that we would all cry at the things that God has saved us from, the things that he's rescued us from, so that not only we can experience freedom, but that the miracle started there, but it's multiplied beyond our own life. So right. I look at that season, and yes, She's Free is born out of that season and many others prior right. to that, because what was given to us as the key to unlock those prisons was not meant to stay with me. It was not meant for me to sit here and have good conversations with my friends about, you know, I mean, it starts there. I think having conversations with my husband and my friends that know me, they can definitely have, I think like my husband's like, wow. I mean, when he remembers, he also remembers where we were. And so it starts there. But I think for me and what God made me to be and the things that he's put inside of me is to pass those tools and pass those truths along to someone else who needs a hope to grab a hold of, who needs an anchor in their truth, and that needs to be recalibrated in the direction that God is sending them in purpose, in hope, in vision, in future. Exactly how he said it is, even if we can't see it. So right. That's the She's Free in a nutshell, you guys. Is if I were to fill out my calendar now with the straight lines, the smiley faces, the upside downs, it's a rare day if it's an upside down smile. Like right. I can't even think in 2017, nothing stands out in my mind. I'm sure we did. I mean, like brain surgery was hard, but even that, it wasn't I wouldn't have categorized the whole day as a bad day. There was a hard day, right. you know, but my entire life has flipped upside down, literally, symbolically, right? It was this most time. And really, there's a lot of joy and freedom in my life. There's a lot of abundance that I was not experiencing before. I'm just ready for more girls to have that same yes. abundance. The enemy likes to make us think it's harder than it is, but it's more accessible than we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy came home from work last night. Actually, this is kind of a funny story, thinking back on where you were and how hopeless things feel and things like that. Andy came home from work yesterday, and even to this day, I still have, these are things that you have to take captive every single day. You have to implement these things every single day. And he got home from work yesterday, and the kids were in the kitchen, and I just made out with him for a good 2 minutes. And I know, Jamie, you love this. And it was just so funny because he was like, whoa, and he dropped his lunch and like dropped everything he had. And I just was like, give me more. No, I'm not done yet. Come on, give me some of that, and it wasn't even more of like being grotesquely obnoxious, but it was just like, I truly missed you, and I am so happy you're home. I couldn't say that before.
Wow.
I could hear the garage open, think, this dread. And just it's so freeing. And like you said, Jamie, we can't keep that to ourselves. And what is the price? Where would we be without it?
Yeah.
And I know we have to wrap this up, but I know for me, I laid in bed and saw who I was going to be without surrendering some of these things. I was going to be a very cynical, embittered woman. I was going to be that woman that, not that coffee's bad, I still drink coffee, but drank my coffee every morning, had my glass of wine every night, numbed every moment I could, and just was bitter. Like, that doesn't exist in real life. That's not what real life is. Real life hurts and it sucks. Oh, you guys want to get married when you're older? Have fun with that. You're going to have kids? Yeah. Have fun. I don't want to be like that. I know that God put a different spirit in me, not a cynical, embittered spirit. So to me, that's the price I would have paid if I didn't make changes.
Yeah.
Wow. So call to action, ladies. It's not too late to register. It's not too late to join. It's not too late to make out with our husbands for 2 minutes today when they come home. Jen said, right? I mean, it's going to be fun too, right? We're not going to spend our whole time crying. Are we, guys?
No.
Okay. You are still giving away some cool free stuff too, right?
Yes,
all right.
This is party week, actually. Party week. Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Wow, this is party week. I hate to see sad week.
No, party week starts tomorrow. In fact, mark your calendars. Do not miss this, you guys. We've never done this before. I don't even think I've participated in anything like this before. And I shall put my makeup on tomorrow night because it's a celebration. And we're having a virtual launch party at 7:00 Mountain Time, 6 Pacific. That would be 8 Central. And it literally is like every 15 minutes, we're going live with something new. We got swag. We have so many fun things happening.
Yeah.
And someone's going to get their registration for free.
Yeah.
Boom. All right.
Cool. Yeah. So tomorrow night, October 17th, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, right in this page, right here. Just like you see with Coffee Talk popping up, same thing. Every 15 minutes, you'll see pop it up in the page. And all you have to do is show up. You show up and you have
to go up.
That's it. So yeah, it'll be awesome. And then we actually launched the program itself. The program day 1 is 10/23, October 23rd, a week from today.
Right.
So you got all week.
Awesome.
That's
Thanks,
good.
guys.
I'm good.
Peace out. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
What's that?
We'll see everyone tomorrow night.
Yeah. Awesome. You guys have a good day. I'll enjoy myself by myself, with myself, all by myself.
I'm going to pine solid up right now. So,
Okay.
And I'm going to set my timer to make out with Andy when he gets home.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, you know what you set me up for,
Eric, hold her accountable to it.
Right.
Make out sesh.
Go work out, Jen. Go work out.
I'm going to go work out.
All right.
Bye.
All right, you guys.
bye.